Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Canines Talking Sense. I'm your host, Cameron Ford. And on this episode, I wanted to kind of get into something that's another passion or hobby of mine, and that is technology. And those that know me kind of know I'm a little bit of a nerd or a geek on the tech side of things. So I thought, what better episode than to combine these two things? And as I researched this, I came across a lot of different things out there that are emerging in the technology world. So without really drawing it out much longer, I want to introduce my guest on this topic. Almog, thank you for coming on and give us a little bit of information about you and your company and what you do, and then I'll kind of just take it from there.
Yeah. So first, thank you for having me on. Super excited to talk about technology and dogs, which is the passion of mine. So DogBase, we're basically like an AI platform for working dogs. We focus on the side of like military, police, search and rescue, service dogs, and dog sports, which we think is going to be the bigger market down the line. So let's just say dogs that have jobs. If your dog has a job, we're interested. And then we're kind of there to provide you basically like AI recommendations, management. So we want to be the holistic solution for your individual handler, a trainer that's maybe training 10 or 15 dogs, or a kennel that has like 50 or 100 dogs. We want to provide you with all that stuff and really focus on the AI around the health and well-being and kind of use science and how you're training your training methodologies to get better results and get a better value for your dogs, basically. That's kind of the vision and the goal of what we're doing.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about with the technology you have now, and what is it tracking? What is it doing? What are we looking at when it comes to this?
Right. So in essence, the way we kind of break it down is we have it's dog-based, and we say log, track, and improve. So logging is basically logging information to the system. Some stuff is automatic, like weather data, we pull weather data, location data, we pull location data. And then we have what we call custom training types or custom actions. So you can build whatever you need to track that's important to you. Right. So if you're doing like scent detection, maybe you want to track the grams or the weight of the scent, or maybe you want to track how old it is. Like, we don't tell you how to train your dog or what methodologies to use or what tool in the toolbox. We kind of want to make it really easy to help you track that information, right? And then we make it like a really user-friendly, really quick and easy, because we know logging information is not fun. So how do we make that really easy for you and give you value? We also have actions, which is around things around the kennel. So you want to track maybe like in search and rescue, you want to track like an incident report, or you want to track things around your kennel or things that are not related to training. So that's kind of like the logging part, right? And there's some automation stuff, there's some AI stuff around that. And then the track part is basic analytics and stats. So what gets measured gets managed, right? So if you've now seen how many hours you actually trained, how many days, how many trainings per days you've done, how long is your average training session, in weather, and locations, you start getting like better insights to see how things are going, right? You can start avoiding trainer's blind, which is like a terminology from the Israeli military. So I don't know how that translates to the U.S. I can go into that. But so you kind of start seeing what's going on. And then the improve is the AI stuff, right? So how do we give you recommendations and suggestions that doesn't break the way you train, but makes you kind of think, this could be an issue. And I always like to give this example like protection, because you can use that for like everything: police, military, personal protection, or like dog sports, right? PSA, IGP. So let's say you're training your dog, like I guess military, police is more accurate. And there's a tendency on every training he's biting like just one sleeve, right? Like the right side of the sleeve. Right. And you might, you change it up. You change like the leg, you put on your leg or the full body suit, and it's like the left side of the leg all the time. So you do 50 trainings, and 48 is like the one side of the leg. That's kind of an issue, right? Like, I'm sure like a Belgian Malinois, a German Shepherd will bite anything, but you still kind of want to add some layers to that. Like, you want to maybe switch the arms up, maybe switch the legs up, maybe do some other areas. So we can give you that recommendation. We can say, hey, this is like a trend that's happening. Are you seeing this? And maybe it's okay for you and you can just ignore that, or maybe it's like something you want to work on. So kind of the idea of kind of giving you that information and bringing it to the front.
So your company, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called DogBase, right? DOGBASE. Yep. And I will put the website on there, dogbase.co. And as you're describing, this version we have right now is like a data collection kind of aspect. So I can quickly reference, what am I doing? What am I maybe not doing enough of? And then potentially integration of an AI aspect that might start aggregating this information, then giving you ideas of what to do. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I mean, we already have AI integrated, right? So we have summarization of every training. So instead of so before you do one training, you can summarize the last one or maybe three before, and it gives you a real kind of idea. And there's actually already in there, based on what you write. So we're not like trying to make stuff up, right? Based on what you write, we give you recommendations. So we ask you like on every training, objective observations, successful, unsuccessful, like the basic stuff that you kind of need to know what's going on. We start giving you recommendations. We have a training recap, which is really cool because the idea behind the recap was, so training, like the way I learn training for search and rescue for the most part is like really small progressions, right? Over and over repetition, and then we increase we increase things. So like the subject, will be 100 meters, and then he's like 500 meters. Now he's behind a tree. Now there's two subjects. So you're always increasing that. How do you keep that level, that quality, but reduce the time, right? So we have what's called a recap, and the recap basically goes back and says, hey, the last 8-10 trainings, here's the average results. Here's what we're noticing based on what you write in that training, like how it's going, and we feel you're ready to move forward or not. So you can read that really quickly. And if you're training multiple dogs, that's like really helpful.
Yes.
So I can go to my dog and say obedience training or search and rescue. I do air scent. So air scent. The last 6-7 trainings were like messed up, like really bad. I need to go back maybe. Or like it was in the middle, in between. So maybe I need to kind of see what happened between. So we give you like a recommendation. Like based on these in 7 trainings, this is kind of what's kind of happening. Where like your dog is missing, he's losing the air scent or like whatever it is, right? Or it's like perfect and moves on. And then we have like an AI dog booklet. We kind of stole this idea from the military of having the history of the dog, from its medical records to all the trainings he's done, and we just summarize that and give it to you like in a really nice UI. So we have that history of the entire dog, and so like me, like I care about my dog and I kind of want to have that history. It's kind of like a book, right? It's like all the trainings that he's done, his medical stuff, like things that were good, things that were bad, and we add some other information there to make it nice, like his birthdays and all that stuff. So we have that out already, and that's live. And then there's other stuff coming out like really soon. There's stuff around the health stuff that we're coming out also that we're really excited about.
So to kind of give the viewer and the listener a perspective, the way I understand it is, so I'll start off with the dog. You put the dog information into the program, which, like you said, includes its birth date, breed, sex, age, all those kind of things. And then in addition to that, you can connect medical aspects to it, like when their vaccinations are due. Yep. Are you able to upload things like x-rays, if you're like the image of an x-ray, all that kind of stuff? Is that possible too? Yeah,
so we just released basically like the DogBase Health Center. And we like if you're like an individual with like one dog, and this came up like too when we posted about it, right? It's kind of more of a pain because you're uploading medical stuff. It doesn't connect to your veterinary software, which we want to get to at some point. But if you have 10 or 15 dogs, you go to the veterinary, that's fine, but you don't have anywhere to keep that information, right? Because there's no CRM or management solution. So we have like a built-in health center, which has everything from the dog's medications, and you get reminders. So if you have multiple handlers, you can get reminders. We have vaccinations, and then you also get reminders for that, of course. We have health notes. So you can add your health notes. And health notes are really great because like my dog for search and rescue gets injured all the time. So I mean, like the history so far, and I haven't trained him. Like I don't have him right now with me, but he's ran into barbed wire. He slits his arm over here and almost died because I couldn't stop the bleeding. He's ran into barbed wire twice. He's a Belgian Malinois. I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
He slipped and kind of messed up his like left ankle. We did X-rays, and it's like okay, like his hip is good, but he jumps like it's nothing. So all that stuff I can write that in there, and I can just have that as a history. Okay, yeah, he was injured in barbed wire a year ago, or he had a major injury here, and like a year now maybe it's flaring up. I know why. Now, if you have one dog, I mean, I would memorize for one dog, but if you're doing multiple, it could be a problem. We have vet visits. So the vet visit basically, I went to the vet. Here are the files. Here are the medications. You upload that. You can upload all your stuff to the dog's profile, X-rays. We also have like certifications, awards. Right? Like if you're IGP, if you're titled, you can upload your title. If you're papered, you can upload your FCI paperwork or your ACK paperwork, right? And you have it all in one place. You can export it like really easily. And then we have nutrition. So whatever you're feeding your dog, and you get reminders. Cool. So nutrition can also be like supplements, right? So if your dog is sick and you do a supplement, you can add that really quickly. And then we have weight management, and we want to add measurements. Right now, we're really focusing on weight management. So if you have like you're getting once a month or whatever, and you go to the vet, you get weight, you can put that in there. Here's his weight history. I don't know if dogs really change much in weight, other than when they're really sick. My dog has always been constant, no matter what I feed him, which is kind of weird. But we added the weight stuff because we felt like it's interesting stuff to have in there.
Oh, for sure. No, this is like super helpful, information. And obviously, being an app, the ability to quickly do it on your phone makes life so much easier. Now, I would assume you can even use your phone camera to upload, obviously, documents or take a picture of this and save it into an area on there.
Yeah, we made it really easy, so you can,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, that's because, in all the years I'm dating myself now, but obviously a lot of stuff was computer based. And obviously with apps being way more popular these days and your phone's always on you, having things for ease of use, and to be able to document something quickly, for example, this is just something I'm thinking off the top of my head. Let's say I'm the trainer, I'm doing detection like we talked about. Am I able to take pictures of where I put my hides and then upload that into a training form so that way by the end I can go back to it and remember where everything was? Or also, this makes me think of something too. Is this shareable? Let's say I do the training form. Can I share it with other users who use this or just email it out to those who don't have it? Is there something like that exists?
I mean, those are great questions. And it's like you bringing that up as ideas is really it's kind of amazing for us because I have a passion for dogs, and DogBase, how it got started, is a very different story. And I'm not I'm new to the dog field. I see other podcasts and I hear all these guys, and so it's just amazing. But yeah, so right now, first of all, you can create teams. A team can be literally a team that's offsite training somewhere, or just a folder or a label. So if you want to say all my puppies that are doing obedience training or all my dogs that are doing detection training, you can group it together. And then you can invite users. So every dog has a handler. So we always say a dog has to have one handler.
Sure.
Because someone needs to be responsible for that dog. But then you can invite trainers and viewers and anyone you want into the system. And then you can anyone can train any dog. So a trainer can go take a dog out and train them. And then in that form, in that training input, he can basically add images, videos, whatever he wants to add in there. And then you can reference it later and see it. You can add notes in there. So it gives him pretty much the row button. He can do everything that you kind of need to do. And then for sharing it, so we have a PDF export, and you can send that in an email. You can view it inside the system. We are looking at adding a social sharing thing, but we're kind of more cautious with that because some people don't want to share certain things around detection.
For sure.
Or they don't want to share that they're using an e-collar, so we're a bit more cautious on that. And then we are right now working on an option to be able to move dogs around outside your account.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you're training a dog for, you take a Greenfield dog and you've done the puppy to year 1, and now you're going to sell that dog as a protection or a detection dog, you can transfer that to the new owner, and he has all that history. He would have to get an account with us, of course, but he would have all that history. And we have full exports in CSV. So if you're worried about your data, or you're like, hey, tomorrow you want to use a different software, which we believe you should use technology because it's kind of where things are heading. But you can export everything and use something else. It's up to you.
That's perfect too. And you're also making me think of something. So for example, this might be something that I instantly collaborate with is, so Dr. Nathan Hall has been, using this technology called the olfactometer, which is basically these boxes that regulate how much odor comes out. It tracks the runs of the dog, so how accurate they are in each of the runs. So it's multiple boxes. They're all synced together by Bluetooth, and then it connects to a tablet or a phone or whatever. So when you run your dog, it'll run X amount of sessions. It automatically rotates the box itself. Like internally, the boxes will be which one's the correct box, changes every run. And so it all cycles by itself. And then the port where the dog's nose goes has a sensor there, infrared sensor there, that will also regulate until it beeps when if the dog is correct. It'll randomize the time until it beeps. That way the dog gets a better duration of indication. So basically these boxes will train without you. But the really cool thing that he did with it is it collects all the data from the run and then automatically sends it to his research program. It can be emailed out to, let's say, the unit trainer, or in this case, what he really wants to do is collect more data as a scientist. So everybody who gets these boxes, they can all transmit their data to him, and then his database just grows and grows and grows very quickly because of that. And one of the integrations that was really important was the ability to send it to canine training records as well. So kind of like your program. So that way, when the box session was done, it would automatically send the information to the records, and it makes life a lot easier on handlers in the sense of they don't even have to now type it in their phone. It'll just auto populate by transmission. Here's a session, here's the accuracy level, and here's what it did, how many runs, how many ones were hot runs or blank runs, and then the dog's indication duration, all that kind of stuff. So off air, maybe if you want, I'll have to put you in contact with him just as because that's, what he was doing is trying to collect data for the research. The other part was also make it very user friendly for handlers for record keeping, that they didn't have to go back, take all that the data that was collected in a, let's say, the Excel format, and then have to go then populate it back into their training records. So that, I thought
would love that.
Yeah,
because we can literally just forward us the email and we'll automatically create that training type for your account, and then you'll get all the visuals too. You'll get the AI summarization. You'll get all the visuals. You get the recap now. We can automatically populate the recap for you. So after 7 or 10 of them, here's what's going on. We can email that back to him as well, or email you a report of that. So that's kind of really cool. Especially, so we really do believe in integrating with hardware. We're not trying to be a hardware company. There are some AI stuff that we're working on using cameras. We think that's in the future. But yeah, we'd love to integrate with hardware partners.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, from everything I've seen and everything, and of course, as technology goes as fast as it does, just in the few years since he started it to where they're at now has been tremendous. So and I think as we're talking out loud too, there's a whole segment of the detection dog community that gets left out a lot of times. There's actually kind of two when it comes to record keeping in my mind. So one which you already mentioned, search and rescue, it can kind of be all over the place as far as who's keeping records, who's not keeping records. Some are pretty good about keeping records for their training, but they don't keep any kind of records for deployments. And then I've got the other way around. There's times where I see programs in search and rescue that keep records for deployments, but nothing for training. So I think this is going to be a big help for them. But then the bigger one I'm thinking of is the sport detection, the nose work community, because a lot of them love data. They want to see where their dog is at. How do we do this week? Their competitions they were in. What trends are they seeing in their because we're human beings, so we forget or we merge information in our mind together, and it gets off. And they've always asked many times when I've talked about some of the different programs that exist out there. They're always like, "Is there anything for nose work? Is there anything where I can keep track of my stuff?" And I think what you're describing, this program would be extremely helpful for them.
I mean, so DogBase started with me doing search and rescue, and we had to keep some kind of logs. And then always, the thing that always happened was, the trainer would be sick or on holiday, or I would be on holiday, and you forget all something that training a week ago, what happened?
Yes.
So I kind of started with a Google form. It just didn't work, and it progressed. I got into IGP, so really thinking about sports. Nosework is really interesting for us. But I think what you'll love is, so with DogBase, we never wanted to be a system for police, or pack track, right? We're not trying to be a one solution just for police. That could be really great for their needs, or just for search and rescue. We wanted to be a wholesale solution for canines. We want dogs that have jobs, right? So what's really cool with our system is you can go into DogBase and you can say, okay, I'm doing nosework. These are the things that I have to track for competition. We have a really good, easy UI builder that you can build your own little form that's designed. So what makes it different and unique is designed actually for canines. So we already know if you're going to do a scent, we have a scent widget. And scent will let you choose your orders and the size you want to track. You can customize it, right? So it's not just a drop down. It's already designed for scent, or if you're doing bite work, we have stuff around sleeves that's pre-populated for you. So you can go and say, you can build whatever you want. You can build multiple times. You can build a form for this and one for this and one for that, and start tracking it across. Nosework, dog sports is really exciting for us. Plus, the competitions. I think if you're really trying to compete at a high level, you got to track your stuff.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the things that I preach all the time, which is I have a class going on right now as we speak, and I make the handlers old school write down in a notebook what they did for the day. And then they're supposed to put that, if they have records, put that in the records later on. But the reason why I have them write down immediately is just because I make them write at first so they remember better for the exact same thing you said. And then the part that I think this is where really good integration comes is we film a lot of the sessions. So the way I do it is when we debrief, I say, okay, read me what you wrote down in your notes about what happened in your search. So they'll read out what they think happened. And then we play the video. And then we see how much of the video matches what they wrote down. Yes, exactly.
I know that from like IGP. I get yelled at. Like, what are you doing? I know that. Well.
And because again, we're human, we forget stuff. Or if the point that I try to make with them is if you wait too long to write your notes down, your notes won't be that accurate. You'll forget some things, or you'll merge things in your mind, what happened and so forth. And it's not like you're trying to be deceptive. It's just how your brain works. So it's a really important thing for me that what I really like about this technology is you can take notes, then go to your app, or if you're really savvy, go right to the app as soon as you're done, put the information in there. The AI aspect, like you said, gives you the summary of what the notes would have been, and it should tell you what this looks like. The other question I have about that is, can I upload videos to that specific training session?
Right. Well, I have two things for you. One of the things which is kind of one of our secret things we're working on, I won't tell you about it because you kind of hit right on the note, right? So I kind of have to. So right now you can upload videos. We don't. We do limit the account amount of videos, like size. Like we can't do like 5 terabytes because we can't afford that as a startup. We're mostly self-funded, right? So, but you can upload many videos as you want. You can upload GPX files, like GPS files. You can upload voice. Pretty much you can upload anything you want, and we kind of let you view it, and you can share it and all that. What we're working on has been kind of a secret because we kind of wanted to announce it, but I'll tell you. So you can build your own training types, right? We call them training types or action types. We have two types, actions and trainings. You can build whatever you want. Some of them have default fields like objective observations. So the default text fields have a microphone now. It's not out yet. You click the microphone, you take notes. It works well outside with noise. That's kind of like the AI part. We're doing noise cancellation. We're doing echo cancellation. And then it automatically saves the audio, but also automatically puts in the note. The text. So automatically on the spot on your phone in like 30 seconds. I mean, we're seeing some lag depending on your internet connection, but we're working on that.
Sure.
And then on top of that, because that was like the version 1, hasn't been released yet. It's still like in testing, is a widget. A widget where you can add to any of your custom training types. So you might want to do a custom training type just for like field notes. You call it field notes. It automatically populates the handler's name and the dog when you select the dog.
Nice.
So, and then you just click that button, and then instead of him writing it down in the book, he basically does that. It automatically saves it to the training type. And then you can upload videos on the spot or later. You can reference it later and view the videos in the training type, and you can see the time and weather and all that other information built in.
Oh, man.
So again, we really want to believe this idea. How do we make the logging or the data capture really, really user-friendly and valuable to trainers that need to be looking at their dogs in the field?
Yes.
Right? Like you don't want to go and type in a computer right now. Like you want to, so that's something we're working on. That's going to be out really soon. We're kind of polishing the AI where it catches, the right words. If there's background noise, it doesn't ignores that. If someone's yelling at you, it ignores that. And we'll put that in beta and have people test it out and see how it goes. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is a big game changer for sure. So clearly, thank you for sharing that to us on this, because I mean, that right there makes me like, oh, hell yeah, because that's kind of what I do a lot of times. I either put the voice recorder on, record something pretty quickly if I'm on the fly, or I've run out of pages in my notebook. But what I like is, in this case, instead of carrying my phone, my notebook, and some other stuff, I can just carry the phone, go to the app, quickly put information in there. I can go back to it later, clean it up, or make corrections if there was something that didn't capture correctly, or additional things I thought of since I put that first thing in there. And then, like you said, and I totally understand, and again, I don't know enough on your guys' end, but I definitely understand, like, the video stuff becomes very heavy data-wise, right? So the little things that I've had people do in the meantime, like on I think it was a spreadsheet or a Google form that we were playing around with one time we made, and we would just link, like we would upload the videos to YouTube in private, like a private video, and then just put that link into the file. So that way we could reference that later on, and it's on YouTube servers and individual accounts versus like being data heavy on our end. But the bigger part was just the easy part to, because we all do this all the time. We take videos and pictures of our phone, and then before we know it, a week goes by, and I remember, oh yeah, I want to go back and watch that. Well, that could be, depending how crazy you are with your phone, that could be 100 photos back in your thing, or I
can't find photos of my dog that I was like, oh, where's that photo? And they're like,
exactly.
And they're just looking at me like, okay, stop.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing about this then within the program, which is going to be awesome, is I can just go to that day and then the videos that I took are right there. So that makes it easier for me to find it than scrolling through my phone.
Well, you can go to the day, you can do a search basically dog type of training. You can do, we have some smart searches like on results. So you'll find it really quickly. Like that, it makes it much easier. And you also get all the other information, right? The time of day, evening, night. You'll get the weather data. If you have that in
weather data. Yep.
Yeah. So if you do like detection work, weather's important. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and like you brought up the tracking, the GPS aspect. So I can see the overlay, like where did we walk? Where did the dog go? And all that kind of stuff, which is super, super helpful. I mean, and I've seen that technology really get better over the years. But the fact, again, that, in this case, this is so usable by anybody, which is your guys' design and your point, because like you said earlier, there's other programs that exist that do a lot of similar things, but they're always law enforcement geared, which is important for law enforcement. But there's so much of this other dog community, like you said, the other professionals, dogs with jobs or sports that have been left out completely. So this really, this really opens the door to get everybody kind of caught up into the technology that we need to have to get better, collect data, see trends, to know what I need to work on, whatever corrective actions I have for the next session. It simplifies that quite a bit with the design that you guys are using. And what I'll do, as as people are listening and watching this, we'll have a link straight to the site. So obviously people can go right there. And I'm sure you probably guys have like the here's your thing for X amount of days, go use it. And then it turns on a subscription or whatever after that. Right. Is that how the model works? Yeah, I mean, or how does that work actually?
It's 30 days free, and if you have issues, you can send us an email. We have me and Nikki. She's head of our sales and business development. She'll really help you on board and really kind of, if there's bugs, let us know. We'll fix it. I mean, we are a software company and we're a startup.
Sure.
So we're not like 50 employees or like, raise millions of dollars. Actually, I think investors don't understand dogs, and it's okay because we don't care because we love them. That's fine. But 30 days free. And then our pricing is like really like it's designed to be like really affordable for everyone. So it's $7.99 per dog per month.
Nice.
If you pay, you can pay per year. And then if you have like multiple dogs, like 30, 40, we do like volume pricing, give you a discount on that. The pricing at some point will go up. Like we have to be honest because our server costs are expensive and our engineering power is not cheap. But we really want to make it affordable for everyone. And we really kind of want to we really believe in this idea where not just for like the training and getting better results, but also like the health of the dog. Where you can start looking at, are you overtraining him? Are you undertraining him? Are you overtraining him in like really bad weather, which you're not being careful enough? And how does that look over time based on the food that he eats? How many medical visits has he had? So really, the emotional connection of like with my dog, like I really want to make sure he's okay. So we really kind of want to have that innovation, and we think it's important, especially for dog sports. And when we look at other solutions, so we didn't start DogBase by looking at other solutions and say, oh, we're going to do a better software. The founder story is very different. But when we did find other solutions like PackTrack, they're all like very enterprise, very not user friendly, and we're like, no, it has to be like really super user friendly. Like, how do we make it so easy? Because we want handlers to focus on their dogs. We want trainers to focus on their dogs. Right. So how do you get both?
No, that's because you're absolutely right. And I've seen, especially in the civilian world side of things, I'll have people that are computer engineers that do this sort of stuff like them would be super easy. But then there's also people who are old school that just are like pen and paper. So in order for them to embrace this, it has to be very intuitive, very easy to use. And it definitely has that aspect to it where it doesn't. You can get through the I call it the bouncing ball, like from this step to this step, pretty easily through the system without bouncing. I had an old program I used. This is years ago, but it's computer based. And before I had you always had to remember as you put data in, hit save at the bottom of the screen. And if you forgot to do that before you moved over to the next thing, you lost all the data you put in. So that was such a pain because I joked around. I was like, you in that program, you can never save enough. You always had to sit there and hit save, move on to the next thing. Make sure you hit save before you do the next thing. Because in your way your brain was working was like, okay, dog information, today's date, time, whatever. And then there's the next tab to go to for training aids. So you want to click that. But if you click the tab to go to the training aids before you hit save, you lost the first information. So you had to make sure information of the day went in there, save. Training aids go in there, save. It just wasn't as intuitive as how your brain works. So having programs and apps that are much more user friendly in that experience will make it far more acceptable by everybody.
Yeah, and I think when we look at DogBase, we're definitely not 100%. We're not where we want to be, but we always everything starts with how do we make it better. That's what we came up with the microphone, right, and the AI. How do we make the interface better? How do we make it easier? And how do we make sure it's really good user experience, right? Not just UI, but user experience. So we're not by no means there, and we have people send us feedback I need this to work this way, or this is kind of working the best way. And we work on fixing that, right? So, but that's always been the kind of the ethos of whatever we build, it has to be in the forefront. So it's not just about having some crazy AI all over the place. It's how do we make sure it actually adds value, the user experience is amazing, and you want to use it, And
that's huge. The fact that because I've seen this before, I forget, there was something some years ago, I had played with somebody had sent something to me. Anyway, it's a very rudimentary record keeping kind of thing, but people were interested in it. And the person running it was pretty solid with it, but then it kind of just fell off. But what people really liked was the ability to email, let's say like you guys, and say, hey, have you thought of this? Because it's amazing what people will think of that you don't think of. You're like, oh, you know what? And that's actually really cool. So the fact that they can reach out to you, throw an idea at you if it didn't exist, or a tweak that, because we both know how this is. We get very focused on certain things. At certain aspects, it becomes hard to see the forest from the trees, where somebody else who looks at it now and goes, oh, what if you did this? And you're like, damn, I didn't even think about that, but that's actually a great idea. Yeah. And then the fact that it can be done pretty quickly, like within whatever time that you guys do it, I think people care about that. They want to know that they can communicate. And then the fact that you guys, like I said, you're starting up, so you guys are newer, which to me is even better. That means I get on the ground floor with you guys. I get to talk to you guys. And then in 5 years from now, when it is 50 employees and a lot bigger, and there's, database areas, the fact that I was part of this in the beginning, and I can reach out to you guys, and it's customizable, and there's things that can be fixed very easily, is a huge, huge plus.
I mean, I gotta jump in here because the custom training types that came from customers, right? Current customers. So that wasn't we weren't even thinking about that, because we were building each training type based on what we thought should be. The community says, okay, this is what you need to track for set detection, and we added all the stuff. And you can add your own custom one, but we didn't think about building your own one. The actions came from a really big police kennel overseas that we're actually in deal flow with them. And we kind of needed to track this. And it was cool. Well, the excitement that we said, okay, we'll do that for you. I mean, that makes sense. We kind of see the value in that. We did that, and then I think a couple weeks ago we closed a customer. I can't say the name because I don't have permission. We always we're very careful on what stuff we divulge, because our customers, they care about certain stuff like that. But and it's not an area we ever even try to market to. But they're a hunting lodge in the U.S., hunting dogs, and they have 40 or 50 dogs, and they go out for hunts. And they wanted to make sure certain dogs weren't being overhunted. So we had the actions already ready, so that when we just started to them, this is perfect. And I have the medical records and all that. So I think, we're really, the idea of you giving us ideas and suggestions, we really take that very seriously. I prefer to develop stuff that people want than me thinking of ideas and trying to sell it to you. You know what I mean?
No, it's very Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs would said, the customer's going to tell you, is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Yeah. So that's this
is just something I'm thinking of. So I'm going to use my place as an example. I'm sure this works this way, but I want to ask. So I have 2 trainers, and we have, any number of dogs that we're training to get ready, of course, to then later put within our bigger company, Stratus Canine. And is this set up where, let's say, the company has the access, but then each one of us trainers can log in and update training? Let's say my trainer Jesse trained this dog Yoshi today, but then tomorrow Natalie trains Yoshi. Are they able to get in, and then each one can update? So there's trainers that are in there, dogs that are in there, and any one of them can go in there and do that?
Yeah, so anyone can train a dog, because that's kind of how people work. Like even my dog, he was being trained by my friend for like search and rescue because he was being in there in the center, right? So anyone can train a dog. We have different roles, so like trainer, viewer, member. Like we have different roles, handler, and then we have different admin roles. So admin, viewer, member, something like that. Now it's all open right now because we never basically said what we should hide, not hide, because we always said the customers will tell us what they want to hide from other people, and then we'll work on doing that based on that. And we kind of built the infrastructure for that, so it's easy. But everyone's actually kind of wanted it open. Like everyone likes the idea of like the trainer seeing what they did with the before and after. Like, so like you said, Jesse trained, and then she can see what he did yesterday, so she knows what to work on.
Yes.
So we never had any problems so far about that, like closing it off and restricting different views. Yeah, but that's exactly how it works right now.
That's perfect. Yeah, because and then the way I look at it within the structure that I have is then when I hand this, just like you said a little while ago, when I hand this dog off to its official handler later on, that handler then gets going, for me, I would be like, I'd be an admin role so I can go in and collect data and look at it and see how things are going. My trainers are the ones training the dogs, updating the information. And then when the dog is ready, it goes to the handler. And then the handler later on, all that information gets dumped into their their own version on their phone. And then from that point, they're still there. And then as an admin, I can still go into theirs and see that even though they're not here, they're training on their own. I can still go in there and look up and see that the dog is still being trained. If they have like trends, things like that. Is there a way, I guess, since I'm the one that started with that dog, handed it off, would there be like a permission where, let's say, that handler, or is it I should make that handler just come into our program, our version of that, just add them in, and then they're the ones updating Yoshi, let's say?
Right. So there's two ways to do it, and this is what we're launching with version 1, I guess.
Yeah.
So first of all, of course, you can export the Excels of the whole history or PDFs and give that to the handler. Maybe the handler doesn't want to use like a software system. That it's true.
Mm-hmm. So in this case, it wouldn't get an option. I'd tell them this is what you're using. But go ahead.
We'd love that. Like, I'm not going to say that. But basically, in that case, he would create an account, and then you would use his email account, and you would send. You would connect, and he approves, you approve, and all that information gets sent to his account. But you keep a copy of that information in your account for records in case of like liability and stuff. So if you're doing a section where you kind of need that, if you're doing search and rescue dog greenfield, you might want to say medical stuff. You might want to say, look, here's the medical record. He was checked on this. Here's all the health notes. Here's what we fed him. So that gives you a liability coverage, and that dog is archived. So you can view everything. You can't make any changes.
Perfect.
Now that handler has that information. He's working with the dog, and let's say he says, "No, I need you to give me feedback." So then he can invite you to his system, and we don't charge per user. So you can invite as many people. We don't charge per user because we want you to have like that connection between people, right? So we don't charge for the dog. So the dog you're only paying for the dog. So the dog moved over to one account, so you pay less, and he pays for that account. And then he can invite you, or you can invite a trainer or a handler, and then you can view all that stuff.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a huge thing, because the way I'm looking at this too, within what I do right now, is then I have my corporate bosses who I can invite and send them up. Let's just say they want to know how many dogs are working at this event. I can say this many dogs are there because I can pull their records for that day. Did they find anything or not? Again, the boss I have is very, very data driven. He loves numbers. He knows all about it. So the really cool thing in the future I see within what I do in the security aspect is to quickly say, this many teams are there. They did training potentially. And then if there wasn't a deployment and something was found, I can send that dog's information and maybe a written debrief of what occurred like that right over to everybody.
Right. So it's really funny because my intention for the podcast wasn't trying to sell you DogBase. I'm not trying to sell DogBase to anyone. Just to be clear, like I'm not here to promote DogBase. I'm here to talk about technology, which I'm really passionate about.
Yes.
But there's two things that you might really like. So we always had real-time activity feed. Right, which tracks everything. So if I get deployed, I gets trained, you see that. A couple weeks ago, we released it like a full view for it in a presentation mode. So you can put it like on a big screen.
Nice.
And I have video. I have like mock-up photos of that inside of our blog post. I'll send that to you later. Again, not trying to sell your DogBase, but you can see that in real time. Yeah. So you can like put that in a kennel, or you can put that like in a big office. Now for your boss, because what was come up for us was people that want to raise money, like search and rescue, nonprofits, and all that.
Yeah.
So you can do. We have graphs and charts. You can build your own. Like you can literally say, "Give me Echo. How many hours has he trained? What has he done?" And you have graphs and charts. You can export that.
Perfect.
There's been questions around how do I communicate with other people about certain trainings? How do I do a report really quickly? We don't have that built yet, but that's like what you mentioned there at the last part, emailing your boss like a debriefing. We should probably talk offline because that's like a feature that we probably might want to implement, right? Because that's a really good idea, and like it's important. Like that could be used for like bosses, for like security in stadiums. They might want to see what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
So that's a great idea. We should talk about that.
Search and rescue would be huge. Let's say the team does get a find, and there's potential evidentiary information that needs to be shared. The handler can quickly do it in their app and then export that out to whether it be law enforcement agency, search and rescue group, whatever, and it's easily done. That way they don't have to jump out of the app, go to someplace else, go back. It allows them to stay within the one ecosystem and then push it out to the others versus the other way around.
I mean, like my head is already thinking about how this is going to be done. I'm thinking about, okay, so so we have actions and we have training. So you can say, okay, for all deployments, you have to log your deployment. Like when you started, what area you started from, whatever information is important for your deployment. And then when the admin is ready, like there was a find, you can basically say, okay, I need a report for this. And that would say, okay, 5 dogs showed up. These are the times they went out. Like we already basically give you like all that information in a really nice designed PDF. And then you say, okay, now send it to these people, click send. And I mean, we're going to put our logo on it, of course, but you basically get to see, like we basically generate the find report and the results, and then you can add like custom information, like things that you saw managed really well, not managed really well. That's like how I'm seeing it in my head. Specifically for search and rescue, and maybe for for like security stuff as well. This would be really interesting.
It is really cool. So where do you see AI now? How do you see AI now entering our world of dog training / record keeping and taking that information and making it where it's going to make my life easier, or I don't have to be, I say easier in the sense of I keep saying we're human because the truth is I'll forget something or I won't see something. So AI might be able to bring up, or AI gives me an idea how to randomize something. So detection, we get very pattern oriented without even knowing it sometimes. And what I use so what I do is sometimes I'll go to ChatGPT and say, here's what I want to do. Here's what I've been doing. Give me an idea. And then it'll kick out something. I'm like, ooh, out of all the ideas, 3 were horrible ideas, but that was actually a really good one.
So, I mean, the way I see AI, at least for like the working dog space, right? And I'm also including like service dogs and nose work and dog sports, because for me, it's kind of like that one area. I think, so we call it like advanced recommendations or AI recommendations, and that could be pattern breaking suggestions for planning, also community-based stuff, right? So if we have enough data, which we're already starting to get to that level of people training, in our system, we would never give your information to someone else, or we would never tell them what you're doing. But let's say you're having really good results with a certain scent kind of thing that's very similar to someone else that's having bad results. We would say, have you looked at doing this based on what other people are doing? Right, so it's totally anonymized, so like that. And again, you have to give us approval to do that, because if you're like for detection of explosive stuff, some of that stuff is secret for the military. But so we're seeing it in a sense of, okay, how do we give you like really good recommendations, suggestions to add into your toolbox? How do we tell you if you're doing things that are pattern or not, overdoing things, underdoing things? Maybe you're training the same weather. Maybe you're not getting enough exposure. Again, the detection, how you're randomizing your detection stuff. Or the dog, or we want to flag the same behavioral stuff around dogs. Like, this is always happening. Like, why? Is that good or bad? We don't know. But here's that information. You decide. Planning, give you ideas for planning. So maybe you've done, you have this dog for a year. You've trained for like a year and a half. You're doing really well, but you want to kind of go to like the next level and you're not really sure where to do that. We can give you suggestions based on what we're seeing in our data. Again, it's up to you to decide whether you want to do that or not. It could be a bad idea or not. But we want to use, what we want to do is use exactly like canine data. So where, ChatGPT has like a broad set of data. But we want to look at like the micro data and how do we add that to the broader scope. So we really believe in that. And then like we're doing research in video stuff. So we've already proven the first concept, and I'll tell you about that because we published this. So we really believe in this idea of using your video camera to look at the dog's health and performance and well-being, and then maybe down the line in the future also like how well he's biting your sleeve and how well his obedience or his heel work and all that stuff. So what we've already done is first we were able to identify a dog breed based on an image or a video. And there's other software that does that, but they don't do it really well. So we're at 98% accuracy based on the dog's breed.
Wow.
So we can Belgian Malinois, mixed breed, pit bull. And the mixed breed, we're able to identify which characteristics are higher than other ones. So let's say you have a mixed breed, but he's more pit bull. So we'll identify a mixed breed, possible pit bull, right? So we can already do that at 98% accuracy. Now, dogs have around 16 facial expressions, all of them.
Oh, wow.
Well, they're all different based on the breed, correct? Like, like a German Shepherd has that little held tail that everyone loves. I love it. I'm not a big fan of German Shepherd, but I love it. And then Belgian Malinois, they have like that spinning tail, which sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. Like you don't know, like it's just, and then like every dog has their own little thing, so you have to identify the breed first. So we're able to identify 14 of the 16 facials at 93% accuracy. We're adding more and trying to get to 98% accuracy. We're okay with 95, but we want to get to 98. Right. So now we have, we're able to tell you breed and 14 the segments of the facial expressions. So happy, sad, mad, aggressive, scared, the 16 official ones that are based on science. So we're not making this up, right? Based on science. That's phase one of our research project. The goal and what we really want to push towards is you don't do a training, you do a 3-second video. You go and do a training, right? Whatever your training is, you do another 3-second video, and we can tell you basically the health of the dog based on breast milk. So that's research, right? So we're not like that's 100% research. It's a vision, but this idea of using video and for dog stuff, I think is kind of where we believe AI is at the next level. Because you said that you train with your trainers, right, your handlers, and you do a video. I mean, I remember for IGP, like I think I'm doing a great job. The dog is like all over. So like my trainer's like kicking him to the left or pulling him on the leash or doing an e-collar. Right, but like the idea is then you take that video and we can start doing skeletons and looking at how well that is or how well his bite is, for example. I mean, the U.S. military put out an RFP for a sleeve that has detection of
bite pressure.
Bite pressure. That's great, but we kind of think, can we do that in video? Is that the future of AI? And can that be really, really accurate? Because then I don't need a sleeve. I can put that in a suit or anywhere. I think it's the right angle, which, that's a different problem, but yeah. So we kind of believe this idea of video stuff. Like, we think it's really exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree because some of the stuff I did in the Special Forces community when I was in there, video work and data from some of the videos is really important. And this part I can actually talk about is when a bomb dog is working, the harness has cameras on it. There's a very popular common one, Canine Storm, which has the one camera up top, but there was problems with that. There's newer versions now that are being worked on, but it's multiple cameras that gives you basically, how your car you put in reverse, it gives you like a 360 view of everything around. So the same kind of thing with the dog and a harness, but when the dog, let's say the dog's working, so when we get a live feed of the dog working. But then if the dog indicates, let's say it finds something, instantly you're getting the GPS tagged location where the dog's at. You're getting information about the dog's heart rate, breathing, and the AI that's feeding the information is going to tell you the accuracy level of this dog is actually on odor versus it being on a non-target. Because the hardest thing for handlers is reading, is my dog, at the end of the day, a lot of handlers are a little bit unsure sometimes, especially in the bomb world. Is it on something? Am I falling? What's going on? What's going to happen now is this is going to give you, because of training data it collected while wearing the harness and everything else, it'll know based on the body's, biometrics, this is highly predictive the dog is on an odor. Then there's the GPS tag location, and then there's that panoramic view all around the dog. So now the bomb tech gets it on his little GRG device and can look at it and go, okay, how do we want to deal with this? Because the dog is there. I can see all around the dog. This is the indication. Do we want to deal with that threat or do we want to just bypass it? But that's all real time very quickly, or within a minute or two of time, you're able to see the location. You know where the dog's at. You know the exact location. So decision makers have information to act upon much faster than Dog handler sees dog alert, says my dog alerted, dog comes back to handler. Then the bomb techs are like, what was the exact location up there around, X amount of meters up and over here, so this speeds all the information up. And then the bigger picture is the accuracy information that the AI would got from training and actual deployments too, or scenario-based deployments to really give that handler, hey, this indication is a high 86% that this is a true indication to a target substance based on biometrics. And then same thing too, what I got to see there is it was very crude, but that information is able to be pulled and put into a system for aggregation of data. So that's, I know is coming. Like I had a conversation with Dr. Hall again about this. There's so much of this stuff is already in existence. Clearly, it's the cost aspect that is the harder part for them for right now. But I said, my thing to him was like, how many years away do you think we are from having the average, let's say, police officer, even search and rescue, whatever, have this wearable device on their dogs? The dog can work, do its job, indicate, handler gets good information that the accurate information is correct, the dog is right, and eliminate the guesswork handlers have always had for years. So my dog's working, let's say I'm search and rescue, for example. My dog's working rubble pile. I kind of see it, but then all of a sudden I realize my watch is vibrating. Bzz, 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 your dog's on indication. And then it lights up green, meaning that it was above a certain percentage of accuracy that the dog is correct. So then really quickly, I'm able to confirm. I can make decisions, keep the dog there, bring the dog back to me, all these different things. If I'm a drug dog handler, this is the legal side of things now. If I deploy my dog on a vehicle sniff from a traffic stop, my dog indicates, and within 2 seconds, it's buzzing and blinking green. I know what I can do. I know this is correct. And the dog is, that's game changing things that are happening. And he said, we're there. He said, we're there, but we're not cost there yet. So that's really cool. And I look at systems like you guys have that can then integrate that data almost immediately, like boom to here, from harness, wirelessly to my phone or watch or whatever device they would have. That this is, the part I'm trying to get people to understand is the dog world, when it comes to technology, AI, data collection, is going to change dramatically in 5 years. It's going to be very different than it is now, as far as our ability to track information, our ability to know what the dog is doing better than we do now.
I mean, I agree 100%. I think it's going to change everything. I mean, I'm always in the phase you have to adapt. I think I'm talking about the other podcast I listen to yours about you kind of have to adapt. If not, you get left behind. There will be handlers that are a bit old school and they're going to have a hard time. I think with technology, that's just the way things are in life. But I think the new generation is going to be part of the training. It's going to be part of the dog. And it's going to be all kinds of stuff. There's going to be cameras. There's going to be software that's going to integrate. You can see all your records. You can send out, what's going on. You can see how many hours I trained per week, per month. Am I on track to what I want to achieve? Right? Am I hitting my minimums? It's going to be tracked, and there's going to be probably accountability as well, which we kind of need that for certain areas. I think I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the idea of having the dogs and technology and the video stuff you were mentioning. But it's also it's going to be better for the dogs, I believe. I think we're going to...
For sure.
The health of dogs is going to be improved just by tech, not even by food, just by tech. I think that's important. At least for me, it is one of the reasons that I'm passionate about DogBase. Not just the technology part, but how do we make the dogs really, because they can't talk to us, right? Unless you teach them to do the button thing, which I never did with my dog. I have no interest in doing that. So I guess But yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm really passionate about it. Do you think? What do you think are the barriers that you see right now? You speak to all these people, right? In the podcast. Yeah. What are the barriers that you think are kind of slowing things down, or actually maybe there's no barriers and you kind of see this happening, you kind of see it progressing? No,
there's definitely barriers. Barriers first is going to be the cost. Second barrier is consumer education, getting them to understand how to use it. Which goes back to how we talked about earlier, things being easily intuitive. I'll use the iPhone example. Obviously in 2007 when we were all using Blackberries. Everybody liked the keyboard on the phone.
Yeah, it's great.
You were very used to that. And then all of a sudden, Apple hands you a phone with one button on it. Yeah. And you're like, what do I do with this? Like, I want to feel the buttons on my thumb. You know, those are old enough to remember that. I wanted to feel the buttons. That's how I knew how to type. I'm going to type on a flat screen where I don't feel anything. So that was, and what it was is because it was so intuitive, even though our brains looked at it, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure about this change, how I feel about it. If it's easy to adapt and to do it, that's going to make it work. If it's feels difficult or it's cumbersome or you have to do this to do that, then it's going to drop a lot of people. Those who are really into it will work through it. They'll navigate those things. It's the same thing. Ask any Android user to switch to an Apple or Apple person to switch to an Android. They don't want to do it because they're used to the thing that they're used to. Even though I've used both. My sister works for Google. I'm an Apple person. I've gone back and forth between two worlds. The joke I make is they're all very similar. It's just moving into a new house. So the kitchen's on this side of the house versus that side of the house, but it's still a kitchen.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So you're just, all the stuff is still there. You just got to go to a different spot to go get it. And then once you know where to go get it, it's easy. But humans just like what makes their life easy and comfortable. So as long as the technology falls within that parameter, ease of use, comfortable to use, it'll be adapted very quickly. If it's too many hoops and this doesn't transfer to that very easily, people won't do it. If it's too expensive, they won't do it. So I know within, like we just said, within X amount of years, the cost will be more effective. Obviously, we got alpha generation now. So you're going to have your Gen Z and alpha. Gen Z is going to be in their 30s pretty soon or mid 30s. Yeah. And then, the millennials are going to be in their 40s and 50s. Those are the Gen Xers I'm at now. It's going to be, it better be easy for me to use because, I have 50 plus years of the technology I'm used to. So this better be intuitive. So that's what's going to make it a usable and adaptable for people. But people want it. That's the thing. I mean, the need and the want is there. The execution is cost and ease of use to make it acceptable. And if it has that, we're there. And anything that makes our guesswork as handlers less guessing and more confirmation. You said it a second ago, the training of the dog is going to be much better because reason why dogs have issues is because the human's confused or the human is inaccurate or the human is inconsistent. So 100%. If the AI helps that bridge that gap, the AI is the interpreter of the dog to the human, where that technology says, yes, the dog is on odor because I know this because the harnesses, the AI pieces on the dog all the time and is collecting that data that the human doesn't keep a track of. The human's not watching. We do, but we don't know for sure. But the AI is going to be like, yes, the breathing rate matches this when it's at odor. The heart rate matches this when it's at odor. The position of the body matches this when it's at odor. And those intangible things that we see, but we don't see as detailed as something that wearable can detect, and the AI is aggregating that data, that will be what changes, because as that gets better and the human can quickly go, yep, that's right. The AI told me it was right. We'll reward better. We'll have the dog will get clear information about what gets reinforced versus the inconsistency of the human. Did I get reinforced for the sit or did I get reinforced for the odor? Did I get reinforced for looking at the handler or did I get reinforced for certain, all these different things that'll get kind of cleaned up better. But like you said, the video is going to be the key. So much now is the video analytics that's giving us much better information than the human eye. So,
yeah, I mean, we really believe in this idea of like video analysis, basically looking at the videos and how do we get information from the video that makes sense. So, and that's kind of like something we're really interested in. And we started with the breed, the facial expressions, and now we're kind of trying to start the research on like the dog breath. And we might have some hardware in the beginning to match it, but then eventually it'll be better. And maybe we only have certain breeds at the beginning because every breed has also different breath. But yeah, I'm like super excited about that. I think video is going to be huge. But even not video, like even if you look at DogBase today, so like when I do search and rescue, they always tell me, first of all, my trainer would be like, I'm training you, not the dog.
Yeah.
Right, like especially in IGP, he's like, "You're terrible. Like, what are you doing making a left turn? So making a right turn. You're missing the dog. The dog makes the right turn. I'm making so the dog is doing it right, and I'm going the other way. He's like, your dog is fine. Like he knows the program. You don't.
Yeah,
like learn
exactly.
the
The human is the biggest problem all the time.
Yeah, my IGP instructor did not hold back. He would yell all the time. Like he would just get mad and frustrated. Like, why are you making a left instead of making a right? But in search and rescue, they always told us to be watching the dog.
Yeah.
Right, because you get those like is he on a scent or is he not on a scent? So a lot of times you'll see like certain patterns. Oh yeah, like my dog would like the tail would just go like that, that Belgian tail. I knew okay, he's on something, but is it like a cat or something? Like what's going on? But even like today, I can log that each time, and I can basically ask to recap. And I can see, oh okay, so 10 of those were fines in training, right? Like those are subjects, so they're actual fines. So that is his cue. So I can, okay, that's a cue. And then if not, if it's like 5 and 5, okay, that's just him being excited. I need to like look at something else, right? So, but yeah, I'm like super excited about that, and I think it's interesting, right? I think like it's going to change a lot. I'm not sure which species will be impacted first. So will it be dog sports or police or search and rescue? I have no idea.
That's a really interesting question because obviously I've seen things in the military side. We have DARPA, obviously, and a lot of technology goes into DARPA. But a lot of projects get scrapped. Like some stuff I've looked at, I'm like, that'd be awesome for us. But then for whatever reason, the government doesn't fund it. And then, but what I have seen later on is a private entity, because once the government says no, they don't care about it, then they can go back out into the commercial world. And then usually if the right people see something, like obviously, let's say the Halo collars and things like that, the GPS things, these are things that were in the programs years ago, but we didn't really like, there was other things that are used instead of that. So what started happening was, well, then that means the commercial world can do it. Now once the commercial world gets their hands on it, then they can actually make things in a more robust way. So then it becomes cheaper, then it becomes very easy to use. So I think there's going to be the mixture of, where does it happen first? I think certain pieces will happen in a military sense, but I think somebody's going to look at something and go, okay, I like that, but the consumer, the big market needs this plus that. And since they only care about, since the military side only cares about this part, we can take a little piece of that, but then we're going to add this to it, which is what the everyday dog person cares about. They want to know, and it's getting much better too. People like to know, I think like always cars can do this right now. Like, how active has your dog been today? How many times has your dog gone to the bathroom? What's your dog's average resting heart rate? Is your dog obese? And just like us with our watches, it'll be the prompts to tell you, hey, you should go on a walk with your dog today. Hey, you should go do this. And that's what brings out acceptance in the use of these things much faster, is when it almost becomes like a game, honestly. Like everybody looks at their watch and goes, I want to close the rings. I want to close the rings. Yeah.
Yeah. The gamification part.
Yep. I think that's what I would love to see, as we're throwing ideas out here. I think if within the program that you have, if you created, let's say, training rings, like your goal this month is to do X amount of sessions and you can close the ring. If you do this, because when people can see that progress and they're that close to accomplishing it, they'll do it. It's the same thing Apple used on their Apple credit cards. They show you, because people never knew, like they just look at get a bill, I got to pay the bill. Their thing shows you like, hey, if you could pay to this is how much you've paid. This, you go here, it turns green, and now you have no interest. Because people know they had interest, but if you saw their ring turn green because you paid this much, there was no interest there. So it's the ease of use. So if you looked at, let's say, a detection dog handler, because handlers always want to know, and trainers want to know, well, how many reps should I do something before my dog knows it? So here you can have like a little progress bar or progress thing, like your dog will reach proficiency more than likely by reaching to this level. And you can have some sliding scale. If it's a younger dog, the scales are over here. If it's a more experienced dog, the scales are over here. I think something visual that you can look at when you open the app. Oh yeah, I forgot. And you get, if I just do 2 more sessions before the end of the month, I'll hit that thing and I'll know I've accomplished it. Versus they had to go through and find the data, they won't do it. But if they automatically see progress bars when they open the app, like we've done this many searches, this many things, they'll be motivated to go do it.
So we haven't even touched on the idea of gamification yet. Like we're nowhere near there. But we have already started. I mean, we're behind on this. We're really behind on this. But to get weekly and monthly reports in your email.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I use a gym app like Fitbod, And then I use like another app, and I get like these reports that like really designed nice in PDFs and shows me like my max weight and all that. So we took that idea from there, and we started implementing that into DogBase. So we can see, I trained 10 times this week, and I had this much successful and this much rates. So we're really behind on that feature, to be honest. So like, don't expect that soon. But it's already we have designs for it already.
See, that's the important part. It's moving the ball in the right direction.
Yeah, so it's not gamification, but we want, because it started from me having the Fitbot app, and I was like, hey, I need this for my dog. Can we do this for my dog? And I was like, oh, okay, let's do this. And then we asked some people of our customers, do they want weekly reports? Maybe they don't want the emails. And they're like, oh, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Like, I want to see what I did like this month, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, this is good stuff. And obviously we're kicking around ideas, and we'll kick around some more obviously off air, but so just give us a synopsis. How do people find you if they want to learn more about DogBase? What's the best way to do it, and how to find you?
I mean, the best way is dogbase.co. The website is, I think, not where it needs to be, but there's a lot of information there. There's a really cool video. You can watch the video. If you go to the blog post, we have like screenshots of the new stuff that came out, the health center, so you can kind of review that. But the best thing to do is you can go on the dogbase.co. There's like sign up. It takes you to the app. You can sign up, create an account, and play with it. You can reach me like directly through my email or through like the marketing site. My email is just almog@dogbase.co, so real easy. And then like Mickey, she's also, you can reach her. She's in the US in Colorado, so it's Mickey@dogbase.co. But inside the app, the help center, there's a widget. You click on that, you can send us a message. We get that right away. And the marketing website, there's the same widget. You click on that widget over there. You can send us an email. We get that right away. We're pretty good at support. We're really excited when people send us emails. I mean, we're not like in a state of getting overwhelmed. So we're like really excited to get those. I had one yesterday. He wanted a refund because his dog is injured. So we get to like, do it right away. And if you're having issues, or look, it's very possible that our current stage, it might not work for you. I always say, give us an email, let us know what you're doing, and we can look at maybe it can work for you. So you need a little help customizing the custom training types or the actions. Or we can sit down and say, okay, like, what are your ideas? What are you missing? And we can put that in our roadmap. We have like a public roadmap. You can see that. And then we're really update everybody. So if we're actually going to do your feature, we'll tell you, hey, we're working on it right now. It's a good idea. We're working on it. If it's not, like, we're not going to do like one-off features for like one person. So we'll tell you, like, this is like not for us, right? Like, let's say you want something that's very different. So we're very honest about that. Like, we're not trying to make you pay for our product and then get you to ask for a refund later. Like, we want you to use our product.
For sure.
Yeah, and then you can reach us. And I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, of course. So.
Perfect, and we'll put those in the show notes where people can do that too. So, no, thank you very much for taking the time to hop on here and give us all this information. And I'm sure we'll be doing some more conversations on technology and dogs. And I hope people that are listening to this will definitely get out and start playing with DogBase. And let's get this more technology and data going for our dogs so we can all be better humans for our dogs. So thank you, everybody, for listening to Canines Talking Sense, where it's okay to be nosy.